All right, welcome back. Another distance from center. I'm Trent,
I'm Horton.
and it's been a minute, but quite a bit of stuff's happening. We're moving into this, the later part of the season where there's just back to back to back to back a whole bunch of big events for these guys and girls. So it's A, refreshing, and B, exciting to watch. Where do you want to start, John?
Well, I want to burn through the two tournaments that happened the last couple of weeks. First one is Hilltop up in Seattle. So
Yep.
it's a HO Syndicate sponsored event. Want to thank those guys for doing this every year. It's
Huge
apparently
event.
a fantastic event. This year, humorously, the weather has been beautiful all year. And then a couple of days before the tournament, it got wicked cold.
Well, actually, it was the day of the tournament. Like apparently, the first day, like during the initial amateur round and during a little bit of familiarization, it was like 80 degrees. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's crazy. But by the finals, it was like 55 air and 55 or 60 water. It was
awesome.
like, and of course, nobody was prepared for it, right?
Maybe nobody except for Will Asher and Rob Hazelwood.
Fred, right? Rob Hazelwood. So, so probably the highlight of the prelims. The highlight of the prelims for the ladies was Jamie Bull ran 1 at 41. And then kind of averages scores for the ladies through the rest of the prelims. But in the finals in the head-to-head, it ended up being Jamie and Minot. Minot had skied pretty solid all weekend. Jamie prevailed. Solid event, good skiing all around, especially in the cold. Whitney had on goggles and it was freezing, so good for the ladies.
Yeah, way cool.
Over in the men.
Who got third?
Who got third? You would ask me. I don't know who got third. How's that for bad reporting?
Not bad. But go ahead. Sorry.
I think. Okay, sorry. Over in the men, Smith kind of seems really back in form. Not that he necessarily wasn't, but he kind of crushed. Again, conditions not awesome. Cold. Nobody ran 41 in the prelims, but it was Smith and Fred, with really Smith like a solid buoy and a half, 2 buoys ahead, all the way through the weekend. And then again, in the finals, Nate took it from Fred. Solid skiing, but cold.
Yeah,
cold.
And I think the thing that you probably don't appreciate from the webcast, which again, Waterski Broadcasting Company did a phenomenal job. I think your takeaway from just watching the webcast, you were like, oh, cool, it's calm, but nobody's there. But having been to one of those events and having talked to some of the people, it is such a locals high five, if you will, tournament. Like I mean, while there's not a huge crowd, there's a small, enthusiastic, passionate crowd. Like tons of kids come out there and they do they do prize giveaways and autograph signings but it's a real family kind of feel, like water ski family, if you will. But it's very impressive event in person. Even though it looks, obviously the shorelines are empty, but it's a small, very passionate, very loyal group of fans. So it's a cool event. It's another one of those ones where you leave there just thankful that there's people putting that much blood and effort into the sport.
Right. It's a gorgeous site. Okay, so that brings us to weekend before last, California Pro-Am. We held it at Shortline Lake.
Yes. First time it's been at Shortline, right?
Oh, yeah, and that place is astounding.
I say there's
just a gorgeous site.
If I had to go top 5 sites on the planet where it feels like you're probably going to run more buoys than you ever have in your life, just by the first time you pull up for your gates, you're like, oh, this is different. Like that one, Covington Ski Ranch, just to name 2, but it's a phenomenal lake. It skis better than it looks even, and it looks perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. So, prelims, women's slalom started off kind of exciting. Manon Costard goes out and breaks the European women's slalom record with 2:41. Whitney McClintock, who we should mention is, I don't think she's a year since having her baby.
1 year. So
coming up on, right,
his
right,
birthday
just over a year.
His birthday was at the U.S. Open.
Right. So Whitney is back absolutely in form. She's wicked fit. She goes out and also runs 2 at 41. So the ladies' battle was on.
Yes.
They were almost a pass ahead of the rest of the field in that first prelim. And in the second prelim, Minot goes out and runs 1 1/4 at 41. Whitney comes out and runs 1 at 41. So the women were on fire, and those two, really were kind of running the table on the other girls.
So with that, all I can, watching that tournament, as much as I tried to watch that tournament, it was hard watching end course video for an hour. But still, thank you for the effort. Again, we're glad that it was there. It just was hard to watch. But anyway, that being said, watching that, all I could think of, oh my goodness, like the World Championships, Jamie, Bull, Witt, McClintock, and Manon Costard. That's going to be something to watch, man.
Yes, and Regina may be back, but hang on. So carrying on with Cal Pro, and by the way, about the webcast, there was just no budget.
No, I know.
Spent.
No, and
they put in a lot of effort, but $0 to get it done because they didn't have the dollars.
No, I get it. There was 2 people manning the whole show. I know. Yeah. No, it wasn't like as much of a dig as it maybe came across. It was just, when we're used to the level of production quality now. It was, still a, thank you for the effort, though. Of course, we were all happy to be able to see something.
Okay, so back to the women's final at Cal Pro-Am. It was Whitney and Minot. Whitney ran 5 at 39. Minot ran 3. These girls skied a lot. It seemed like it's amazing they skied as well as they did at the end because I think they were all kind of crushed. And by the way, the California wildfires were in full tilt, so the air quality was abysmal. And I don't think you can see it on my camera here, but it's air quality isn't very nice here either. But so it was wicked smoky. The ladies just pulled up their skirts and went and got it done. Did great. Brings us to the men. Super fun. First round, Nate goes out and runs 41, gets 1 of 43. Robert Hazelwood kind of was like, that guy's in the mix. 3 at 41, Fred 3 at 41, Detrick 3 at 41. More about Detrick later. Parsons 2 at 41, and then a bunch of 2s in that first round. Second round, Smith again on his game, 1 at 41. Asher,
1 of 43.
You know what I love about Asher?
1 of 43? Or?
No, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah. Smith 1 of 43. What I love about Asher is you never know, right? He'll go out and he'll get 1 at 41, 2 at 41, 3 at 41, 1 at 41. He'll miss a 39. And then he shows up at Cal Pro-Am and runs 5 at 41 and reminds people that he really is truly one of the best in the world.
In history of the sport.
History of the sport. He was running that 41. Yes. I think he got cautious at 4 and then couldn't make it to 6. But just a reminder of how insanely good that guy is.
No doubt.
So that kind of brought us into the head-to-head with the expectation, Smith is on fire. And then in the first pairing, it was Smith to Gaspari. And as everybody knows, DeGasperi is just like solid money, 2 or 3 at 41. Doesn't get to 4-ball that often. You think that's fair?
He's done it. He's done it a lot. But yeah, I don't think. That was not a disparaging comment. The way I frame it is, no one has ever been more dependable, accountable for a 3 or 41, whether it's Yarra River or whether it's Balakwa. Like DeGasperi runs 3 at 41. And you're right. Like often maybe he doesn't have as many as the deep scores as some of the other guys, but he also is the guy who never falters either. Anyway, to your point, though, yes, go ahead.
So the upset of the weekend was Smith bobbles at 41, gets 3, DeGasperi goes out, and as far as I'm concerned, pure will and heart and soul and just gonna gets it, gets 3 1/4. I hate quarter buoys, but that was a legit quarter buoy. He threw himself at it, So Smith was out in the first rotation. And we kind of work our way through, and we get to the final. And again, Robert Hazelwood gets to the final kind of unexpectedly. I mean, he's a great skier. People have known he's out there, but you don't really think of him in the same arena as Asher and Parsons and Stettelbauer and Detrick. But he goes out, he runs 3 at 41, and that gets him through the final, and Fred gets through at 3 at 41, so they have a runoff. They go back to the far end of the lake, which we've talked about. We're not sure why they started that end. They both came back, and they ran 3 at 41.
What was cool, though, is that, because this is now kind of, unscored, so they did their own runoff rules, if you will. Like, instead of going out and making them do 39 again, which you knew that none of them were going to miss, they just right off the bat 41, 41, 41. I think it was on their fourth runoff, correct? Where
that's what my notes say.
Yeah.
And my notes say 3 at 41, both of them 3 times in a row. And at this point, you're looking at Rob Hazelwood and you're like, dude, you're a slalom skier. I mean, amazing. Who knew? And then finally, Fred got a 3.5 at 41, and Robert was done. He got 1.5. Fred moves through and wins the event. But as far as the end of a final, being on shore, I'm trying to take pictures, but I was screaming at these guys because it was just amazing. Like, just
really
the
cool.
best athletic performance event entertainment you could imagine.
Really, really exciting. And again, it was exciting watching boat path video. So, I can imagine how exciting it was there. And again, that's not a thumb in the eye. But even though you could just very limited what you were actually seeing, it was crazy exciting. And again, it gets my mind churning and excited for Worlds, because there's gonna be one of those rare opportunities where the World Championships is actually held on a water ski site, which is more rare than you might think.
Yeah. So that was Cal Pro, and skier who had high expectations coming to Cal Pro and didn't really do what they wanted was Brian Detrick. So last weekend there's a tournament at Detrick's Lake, which is short line, same place where we had Cal Pro.
Yep.
And you look at the officials roster, and it's chair people of drivers committees and rules committees, and it's like the highest level officiating possible. And Brian goes out on Saturday. Now, Brian has a history of he's got some 4s and 5s, and then gone some year at 41, and gone some years not able to really get past 2 or 3. And he was kind of hot a little bit this spring, or later this summer, but he went out and he ran 1 at 43 first round. We're gonna sidebar here for a minute.
Yes.
It's my understanding that the current state of the SurePath rules are, depending on your region, you do not have to adjust a score based on SurePath data. It is optional.
Well, yeah. So the way I understand it, and this is going to be very, very close, and there's going to be some semantics involved, and someone's going to correct me, to be a little more accurate, precise. But yes, as of right now, it is an option. I think the original rules I had read was that it was going to be effective for the 23 season, which is now. But I still, you're still not obligated, or even as far as I understand, you're not even really allowed to give re-rides per se, or put those suggested or preliminary rules in effect yet. But back to your point of this.
So he runs his 1 of 40.
Yeah, and
he runs 41.
Was out.
The cumulative was out, and so the officials looked at Brian and say, Brian, if they put this on the scope, it's funny that it's held to the same standard as a world record.
Which
His
for the
score
last
is
couple of
invalid.
years has been the case, right? For the last almost 2 years, anything at 38 or shorter needs to be submitted to the National Tech Committee for review. So,
but does it always happen? It's kind of a should thing, right?
It's always submitted, just whether it's always followed up on. But and then now you do have the option of using SurePath instead of end-course video. End-course video is still required for backup, but you can submit purely the SurePath data. So I guess where you're going with this is this is this in this new era of SurePath and boat monitoring, GPS boat monitoring systems. This is a significant 41 because like where you're going with this is the first one. They're like, no, we can't really stand behind this the technical controls of this. So he just went out and did it 2 more times.
Right. Well, but before he did it the 2 more times, they rolled his score back to 5. They said,
Yes.
Brian, I'm sorry, and it's there's no we all know who the drivers and judges were, and it was like it wasn't good enough, so they took him back. He comes out Sunday and he runs a 1 at 43 and a 1/2 at 43. And I've seen those SurePath numbers. In fact, I'm going to publish them here in a minute on the website. They're tight. These 41s are legit. So this skier who's never run 41 before in a tournament essentially ran it 3 times in a weekend. One of them didn't count. It's a huge breakthrough. I think everybody is like wicked stoked for Brian. Of course,
massive.
He's 8 feet tall, so how hard can it be?
Very hard.
He's so tall.
Very hard.
He's so
very,
tall.
very short. It's like, and it's,
I know.
and like my whole thing for years has been, it frustrates me how we're so leery to celebrate like something as amazing as that, and that's like one of the things I like best about SurePath as a driver is that, you go ahead and celebrate. Like you can, like in the past, it was just everything was met with so much speculation or like such a so much skepticism. Probably is more accurate. But but this is like this. There's nothing you can say other than like bravo, congratulations, and it's just phenomenal skiing. It was. I can't imagine having a breakthrough weekend like that.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And Brian's a great guy. All right, so that brings us to
Dorian Llewellyn.
Oh my gosh, huge!
So
huge go on Dorian Llewellyn.
Yeah, like so Joel Poland, broke this, broke the world overall record earlier this summer in fashion, and he just so much momentum and I mean he just has this huge fan base following now just because all of a sudden people like unaware of quite how good he was, and then Dorien, who had broken it prior, had one of those records knocked back, and regardless, he reclaimed that record this weekend. And I'll just tell you, so 2 rounds in a row he broke Joel's existing record. So which of these will go through, or both of them will go through. But I guess they probably haven't been ratified yet. But anyway, the first round was 2.5 at 39, 11,610 points, and 230 feet, which broke Joel's existing record. And then the very next round, he went 1 at 41, so bumped his slalom up by a pass. Trick went down to 11,010, jump went down to 224 feet. So one or both of these records are going to pass. So, and the other interesting thing is Joel's record was broken at Mastercraft's Action Water Sports site down in south of Orlando. And this one was too. So suddenly Khalid and Action Water Sports place is the spot to be. And I mean, it was already gaining momentum, but 3 world overall records in one season. It's
behind Mastercrafts.
Yes. Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean, I should. Yes, I'm going to say yes. Yeah. I mean, it's. I'm sure it's a Mastercraft site only. I know.
Right.
And Dorian's a Mastercraft guy, so yeah, we've had a Mastercraft.
That's spectacular.
Wow. Yeah, really, really cool.
So
then we're going to go again. Like I've mentioned this a couple times. Sorry to interrupt, but now here we have this thing. Okay, like world overall at the Worlds. I mean, it's not. Holy moly. I mean, it's like when you think of who, like, so we have Martin Coleman, the former record holder, and you're going to have, obviously Joel Poland and Dorian Llewellyn. I mean, this one is going to be, more closely followed than, then you're going to go all the way back to, 80s and 90s, Sammy Duvall and that
Carl,
sort of stuff. This one's going to be closely followed, where it's not even kind of a one-man show.
That's spectacular.
Can't wait.
I think about the scores, and I mean his slalom could come up,
Yep.
but he's near the tip of the spear in trick and jump.
Well,
like
yeah,
really,
but I mean the second round when he's won at 41. So really, what he could do is his second round slalom score could match the first round of the other two. But Joel Poland was the same
insane.
thing. Like Joel's go-to slalom score is 2 at 41. I mean, that's what he does. His previous world record, or his current world record, I guess, until these ones get passed, I think he was somewhere at 4.5 at 39. So Joel kind of was the same thing where he left a bunch on the table just from not hitting his standard slalom score. So this is going to be exciting, man.
No doubt.
What's next?
All right. Well, I don't know what is next.
Malibu Open.
For World. Oh, Malibu and Worlds. Yeah, Malibu and Worlds.
Malibu
Fantastic.
Open. Then the World Championships will be its own show. Mastercraft Pro is coming up in the fall.
For sure.
And then there's a pro event down in Miami too. So there's a bunch left to go. So, awesome. But up next, Malibu Open.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Trent.
Thanks.